Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dayna from This Pixie Creates, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Making Waves Potholder. This potholder is fun, bright, and perfect for summer. It is made by crocheting two identical squares and joining them together as you crochet. This makes it double thick so you won't burn your fingers or your counters. You can find the free written pattern and everything you need to know linked in the description box below. Let's get started. Alright guys, the first thing that we're going to do is make a slip knot, place it on our hook, then tighten it up. Now chain 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay guys, to start row 1, we're going to make a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So this right here is the first chain, this is the second chain. Going into this hook, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, so we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, and pull through all 2 loops. So that's a single crochet, and we're going to do that in every chain across. Alright. And we are going to mark the first stitch that we made, so that first single crochet, we are going to mark it with a stitch marker. So this right here is that chain that we skipped, and this is our first single crochet. So mark it with a stitch marker or a safety pin. This way you don't lose or gain any extra stitches. We're going to do this at the beginning of each row. Okay guys, we're at the end of row 1 and we have one last chain to work into. So we're going to make a single crochet and we're going to turn our work to start row 2. So for row 2, we're going to be setting up this wave pattern. So we're going to be doing a few different stitches. So to start, we're going to chain 2. And going into the last single crochet that we made, this is going to be the first stitch of row 2. We're going to yarn over and we're going to make a modified or extended double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook under both loops of that single crochet, yarn over, and draw up a loop. So we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and we're just going to pull through this first loop on our hook. So 1. Now we still have 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to finish the double crochet as normal. We're going to yarn over and just pull through the first 2 loops. So we have 2 loops remaining, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. So that's a modified double crochet, just extends that double crochet a little bit more so we get a little bit more height. Okay, at this point I want you guys to mark this first stitch of the row. That way we don't lose track of any of our stitches. Okay, going into that same stitch, we're going to make a second modified double crochet. So again, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that stitch. We're going to yarn over and draw up a loop, so we have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through just the first loop, yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so now into the next stitch, which is the second single crochet, we're going to make 1 double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And that's a double crochet. Going into the next 2 single crochets, we're going to make a half double crochet in each stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That's a half double crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to make another half double crochet. Okay. Into the next stitch, we're going to make 1 single crochet. These 2 stitches we're actually going to combine with a slip stitch. So we're going to make our first decrease stitch, and what this does, it makes this little valley right here. It makes this dip in the wave. So to do this, we're going to insert our hook into this first stitch. We're going to yarn over and we're going to draw up a loop. So we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to go into that second stitch. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and we're going to pull this yarn through the stitch, and we're also going to pull it through these 2 loops on our hook. And that is called a slip stitch 2 together. So basically we joined these 2 single crochets and we made 1 slip stitch. So that's a decrease. And we're going to do this once more. So going into the next 2 stitches, we're going to make a slip stitch decrease. So insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop. So we have 2 loops on our hook. Into that second stitch, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and we're going to pull the yarn through the stitch. We're also going to pull it through these 2 loops on our hook. And that makes our second slip stitch decrease. In the next stitch, we're going to make 1 single crochet, basically going to mirror this side. Into the next 2 stitches, we're going to make 1 half double crochet in each stitch. Okay, so we have 2 half double crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to make 1 double crochet. Into the next 2 stitches, this is where we're going to make the peak of our wave, so the highest point of our wave. We're going to make 2 modified double crochets into this stitch. So that's 1. And that's 2. Okay, and we're going to do that once more in this next stitch. So into this stitch, we're going to make 2 modified double crochets. And there we go. So this is what it's looking like so far. I'm hoping that you guys can see that there is a slight wave going on here. To make a second wave, we are going to repeat the row 2 pattern repeat instructions one more time, and you should find that there are 6 stitches remaining when you're finished. We only have a few more stitches to go. So after these modified double crochets, we're just going to make a regular double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to make a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. One single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and we should have 2 stitches remaining, so 1, 2. In these last 2 stitches, we're going to make a slip stitch 2 together, and we're also going to change color at this point. We're going to do this slip stitch a little bit different, so get your new color ready. All right, so set it there. We're going to insert our hook into this first stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop, and we're going to drop our current color. We're going to loop our new color over our finger, and we're going to remove this stitch marker just so we can get into the stitch. Going into that last stitch, insert your hook, yarn over with this new color, and pull it through that stitch. And at the same time, we're going to pull it through the last 2 loops on our hook. And that makes that slip stitch decrease, and we've now changed color. Okay guys, to start row 3, we're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 2. So since we've already kind of set up the wave pattern, it's going to be a lot easier. We're just going to be working with double crochets from here on out. We're going to make a double crochet 2 together. So just like we did with the slip stitches, this is a double crochet decrease. So we're going to be working it across these first 2 stitches, and we're going to join them together to make 1 double crochet stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. So we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. So we should have 2 loops remaining. So at this point, we're going to stop with this stitch and we're going to go into that second stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. So you have 4 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through just the first 2 loops again. So we have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's a double crochet 2 together. So it makes 1 double crochet stitch. Into the next 4 stitches, we're going to make a double crochet in each stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And at this point, I want you guys to mark that first stitch of the row, so that double crochet 2 together, it is right here. Okay guys, we're gonna make our peak now. So our peak is gonna be worked into these 2 stitches right here. So into the first stitch, we're gonna make 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to make 2 double crochets. And that makes our peak. Going into the next 4 stitches, we're going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and now we're getting to the valley, or that dip. So this can be a little hard to see, so if you'd like to, you can turn your work towards yourself so you can see those stitches. So we're actually going to be working into these 2 stitches here, and we're going to make a double crochet decrease. So again, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the first stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. So we have 3 loops, yarn over, just pull through the first 2 loops. So we're done with that stitch. Going into the next stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and draw up a loop. So we have 4 loops, yarn over, just pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's our first double crochet decrease. We're going to do that one more time, going across these 2 stitches. So into this first stitch, make your first partial double crochet. Going into that second stitch, make your next partial double crochet. When you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And that is the valley. Going into the next 4 stitches, we're going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch. So 2, 3, and 4. So this is what it's looking like so far. To make the second wave, we are going to repeat pattern repeat for row 3 one more time, and there should be 1 stitch remaining when you're finished. Okay guys, we just worked our last 4 double crochets and we're at the last stitch of row 3. So we're going to remove our stitch marker and we're going to make 2 double crochets into this last stitch. So 1, 2. And that is the end of row 3. We're going to turn our work, and this time we're going to be working into the back loop only. When we normally work a stitch, we go under the front and back loop. So the front loop is the one that's closest to us, and the back loop is the one that's furthest from us. So this one right here. So when we work into this stitch, it creates a ribbed effect. It looks really cool. It actually makes it look like it's waves rolling. If we do this right, we should still be able to see this front loop here. We're gonna start by chaining 2. To start row 4, we're basically going to do the opposite of what we did with row 3. So we're just gonna follow along with basically the pattern that we have, right? This last stitch was 2 double crochets in that. So we're gonna start by working 2 double crochets in this first stitch. But again guys, we're gonna go into that back loop. So kind of tilt your work towards yourself. This is the front loop. This one is the back loop. So we're gonna go into the back loop only. And we're gonna make 2 double crochets. And we're gonna mark the first double crochet with a stitch marker. Then the pattern goes that we work 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So going into the back loop only, find that back loop. So in stitch number 1, we're gonna make 1 double crochet. Stitch number 2, in that back loop, we're gonna make a 2nd double crochet. Stitch number 3 in the back loop, we're gonna make another double crochet, and into the 4th stitch in the back loop, we're gonna make a double crochet. So we have 4 double crochets. In the valley, if you remember, we're gonna make 2 double crochet decreases. So these 2 stitches here. So we're gonna be basically joining 2 stitches together. So we're gonna join these 2 stitches together, and we're gonna join these 2 stitches together. Okay, now this is exactly what we want. We want 1 regular double crochet, followed by a double crochet decrease, and a regular double crochet. So those are the 4 stitches that we're going to be working in. So going into the back loop, we're going to make our first double crochet decrease. So we've made a partial double crochet in the first stitch, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch in the back loop only, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through just the first 2 loops. When we get to the point where we have just 3 loops remaining and we have 2 partial double crochets, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's our first double crochet decrease, and our next double crochet decrease is going to be with these 2 stitches. So going into that back loop, we're going to make a double crochet decrease. Into the next 4 stitches, we're going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, always working into the back loop. We've arrived at our peak So this is exactly what we want. So we're going to work into these 2 stitches, which just happen to be, so see how these 2 are peaks right here, these 2 double crochet and 2 double crochet. Okay, we're going to find the middle 2, so these 2 here, and those are where our peaks should be. So into this first stitch, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to make 2 double crochets. We're going to make 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1 double crochet in each stitch. To make your second wave, we're going to repeat the pattern repeat for row 4 one more time, and there should be 2 stitches remaining when we're finished. Okay guys, we're at the end of row 4. We've just worked our last 4 double crochets and we have 2 stitches remaining. So remove your stitch marker and we are going to make a double crochet 2 together as well as change color. So going into the first stitch, we're going to make that first partial double crochet. Going into the second stitch, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, so we have 4 loops, yarn over, and just pull through the first 2 loops. So that makes our 2 partial double crochets, and before we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, we're going to drop our current color and we're going to pick up our new color. So loop it over your finger, leaving a nice long tail. Yarn over with your hook and pull it through the last 3 loops to complete that double crochet decrease and change color. So this is what row 4 should look like. Okay guys, so we're just going to pretend like this is row 15. So to start row 16, we're going to turn our work and we are going to be working into the back loop only to create that really pretty ribbed edge. So we're going to chain 1 to start and we're actually going to slip stitch these 2 stitches together to make a slip stitch decrease. So find your back loop, so turn your work towards yourself. This is the front loop, this is the back loop. Going into the back loop only, we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, into the second stitch, going into the back loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through the stitch, and pull it through the 2 loops on your hook. And that makes a slip stitch. Going into the next stitch in the back loop, we're going to make a single crochet. In the next 2 stitches, we're going to make 1/2 double crochet in each stitch, going into that back loop only. Okay. Into the next stitch, we're going to make a double crochet in the back loop. And we've arrived at our valley. So in this stitch right here, we're actually going to make an increase. So we're going to make 2 modified double crochets into this decrease stitch. So going into the back loop, we're going to make a modified double crochet. So yarn over and just pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so that's 1, and we're going to make that 1 more time into that same stitch, going into the back loop. Okay, so that's 2 modified double crochets. Going into the next stitch, this decrease stitch, we're going to make 2 modified double crochets in the back loop only. So 1, and 2. So this is what it's looking like so far. So as you guys can see, it's really starting to create a pretty straight line. Okay, we're going up to the peak, so our stitches are going to be getting smaller. So we're basically going to mirror what we did on this side over here. So in the next stitch, we're going to make a double crochet in the back loop. And all these stitches, I'm not going to say it anymore, guys, all these stitches are going to be worked into the back loop only. In the next stitch, we're going to make 1 half double crochet. Into the next stitch, we're going to make a second half double crochet, so 2 half double crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to make a single crochet. And so we're at that peak. So as you guys can see, these are our 2 increases. So this is 2 double crochet here. This is the second 2 double crochet. So we're gonna make a slip stitch decrease across these 2 stitches and these 2 stitches. So in the first stitch, we're gonna go in. Into the next stitch, we're gonna go in and make that slip stitch. So that's 1 decrease. Into the next 2 stitches, we're going to make another slip stitch decrease. Now we're going down to the valley, so our stitches are going to be getting bigger. So into the next stitch, we're going to make a single crochet. Into the next 2 stitches, we're going to make 1 half double crochet in each stitch. Into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. And this is where our pattern repeat takes over. Repeat the pattern repeat for row 16 one more time, and there should be 1 stitch remaining when you're finished. And into the last stitch, we're going to remove our stitch marker, and we're going to make 2 modified double crochets. And that completes row 16. So as you guys can see, a nice straight edge all the way across. So at this point, you guys can fasten off. So we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook, and keep pulling to make a long enough tail. Trim it. So you are going to repeat this process to make an identical second square, and then we are going to join them together with single crochets. Now that our squares are finished, we're gonna decide which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. So on the right side, you should be able to see your ribbed edging here and the rib texture. On the back side, or the wrong side, it's going to be very flat. We want the wrong sides of our squares to be touching, and we want the right sides to be facing outwards. So this is the front side of our pot holder, and this is the back side, and both sides you can see that ribbed texture. So we have the option of creating a seamless join, so coordinating our colors so that you can't see the border and it blends in, or we have the option of just joining with a single color so that the border stands out. This way is a little bit easier because we don't have to do any color changes. I'm going to show you guys how to do both, but if you are just joining with one color, weave in all of your ends before you start the join process. If you are coordinating your colors so that you can create a seamless border or join, then you want to leave your ends unworked until the very end because you might need them to work across each stripe. Okay guys, when we have our squares lined up together, what we're going to do is we're going to find the top left corner of square number 1. So going into that last stitch here, we're going to insert our hook, and we're also going to insert our hook into the matching stitch of square number 2, so right here. So you'll notice that we have this gray yarn hanging here, and this is perfect because we are going to use it to join the squares together along these 2 rows here, because that way it'll look seamless. If you guys are using a single color, you'll fasten on the exact same way. So we'll insert our hook into these stitches, we'll grab the color that we're working with our finger, we're going to yarn over and pull through both stitches to fasten on. Now chain 1, and we're ready to start working. So these top 2 rows are a little bit tricky to work into because they don't line up perfectly. So we're going to just try our best with these 2 rows. Okay, so going into the same spot that we worked the chain 1 into, we're going to insert our hook going into both stitches, and we're going to make a single crochet. And that just joins those 2 stitches together. Now we're going to try to line up these rows a little bit, and we're just going to pick any spot. It really doesn't matter. So just insert your hook. This isn't a stitch, it's the side of a row, so it's going to feel a little bit weird, but just go in anywhere, and we're going to make a second single crochet. Again guys, we're going to line up. So we're going to go in to square number 1, and we're going to try to match it up with square number 2. Okay, and we're going to make a 3rd single crochet, and we're going to make a 4th single crochet. This time we don't really have anywhere to go, so we're just going to go into that same spot, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we still have 2 loops on our hook. So if you guys were doing it with 1 color, you would yarn over and complete your single crochet, then move on to the next section with the same color. But we're not going to do that because we are going to try to make a seamless color coordination here. We're going to drop our current color. And now we're going to find a strand that matches the next wave section. So we just have this one hanging here from our work. So we're going to loop it over our finger, yarn over with our hook, and pull it through those 2 loops on our hook. So that completes a single crochet. Pull on your gray or old color strand to kind of close that stitch up nicely. At this point, you guys can bring the gray color inside your pot holder to hide it if you would like to, or you can leave it out and knot it and weave it in after. So these 2 rows line up really well here because they both use double crochets at the beginning and end of each row. So what we're going to do is just insert our hook kind of at the top edge of the row, and we're going to make a single crochet. We're going to pick another spot again, kind of close to the end of the row, and we're going to make a second single crochet. Again guys, going across, we're going to make a 3rd single crochet going through both squares, and then over here pick a spot and make our 4th single crochet. But before we yarn over and finish the single crochet, we're going to drop our current color, and we're going to find a strand that matches the next color of our rows. So we have this pink strand here. So we're going to loop it over our finger, yarn over with our hook, and pull it through the 2 loops on our hook. That completes that single crochet. So pull on this strand, on the old strand, to kind of close up that stitch. So we're going to work 2 single crochets into each row end all the way across. To work across the bottom, rotate your work so that you can see the bottom of the chains, and we're going to be going into the bottom of each chain. So we've already worked into this first chain or first stitch. We've already made 2 single crochets into it, so we're going to skip over that one and we're going to find the next chain. So right here of square number 1, we're going to find the matching one of square number 2, and we're going to make a single crochet to join them. We're going to do this all the way across. So you guys might get to a point where the pink or whatever color that lines up with this stripe is not long enough. So we can fasten on with some more of this color, just the same way that we've been changing colors. Loop it over your finger, pick it up with your hook, and pull it through those 2 loops to change color. We're at the last chain of the bottom join, so we're just gonna find the 2 matching chains and we're gonna work a single crochet. All right, so this is what it's looking like so far. And we're gonna rotate our work so that we're working along the right side. The right side is going to be the exact same as the left side. Okay guys, we've just finished the right side join, so I've ended with 4 single crochets into the top 2 rows. So what we're going to do is rotate our work to work across the top, and this right here is the first stitch of the row. So we've just worked into it, so we're going to work into it again and make a second single crochet, basically the first single crochet of the top join. And we're going to go into the next stitch of square number 1 and the matching stitch of square number 2, and we're going to make a single crochet, and we're going to do this all the way across, working into each matching stitch to join them. Okay guys, we have 2 more stitches to work into, so this is the second last stitch, and this is where we started, which was in the first stitch. So we're gonna finish off by making a single crochet into that stitch, and we are going to join with a slip stitch. So we're gonna go into the first single crochet that we made underneath both loops. We're gonna yarn over, pull through the stitch and the loop on our hook, and that just completes the round. So at this point, we're going to make our chain circle before we fasten off. So we're gonna chain 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13. 7. Okay. Once we have our chain 13, we're going to insert our hook into that first stitch of the round where we made our slip stitch, and we're going to yarn over, pull through the stitch, and also pull it through the loop on your hook, and that closes off our chain and makes a loop. So at this point we can fasten off, so we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook, keep pulling to make a tail, trim it, And with your yarn needle, thread it with the tail, and we can insert our hook into the back of our work, just anywhere. Pull the needle through. We can knot it, weave it through a few more times. And then trim it when we're ready. Okay guys, so this is the Making Waves Potholder. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the tutorial. At this point, you can weave in your ends if you have any left over, and you can also block your potholder. So what that does is it just straightens everything out, makes really nice crisp edges. So to do that, you can take a foam board or a blocking mat, and you can put your potholder down, stick straight pins into it, and then once you have it positioned the way you want to, kind of stretched out in all directions, you can either steam it with a steamer and let the steam soak in, or you can spray it with water and then just gently pat the steam or the water into the potholder so it gets into all the stitches. Let it dry and then remove your pins and you are ready to go. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next month for a new potholder pattern.